just a few random thoughts to close out the day. First of all, I'm amazed that nobody in the Trump era has thought to use the old phrase from Homeland Security, the threat level today is orange, because we are at a level of orange alert in this country. Of course, there are people now who are calling the president the illegitimate president. We get fined on this show if we don't use the prefix illegitimate. There are people on this show who call the illegitimate president Agent Orange, as well they should, for his odd and unnatural coloring. So we are once again at threat level orange this week, but it is also important that, we can joke about this guy, but the fact is we are at a scary moment right now, as we all know, and we are also yet at the same time at an absurd and comical moment. Now, on the absurd and comical side of the equation, Steve Bannon went before CPAC, the conservative gathering this week, and compared Trump's speaking ability with that of William Jennings Bryan. Now, there are those on the left who think that William Jennings Bryan, at the close of the 19th century, sold out the 19th century populist movement, but I'm not going to get into that. The one thing that was clear about William Jennings Bryan, we have recordings of William Jennings Bryan, is that he was the great orator of the time. It is William Jennings Bryan who said, "We shall not press down on labor this crown of thorns, nor shall we crucify mankind on a cross of gold." He was referring to what they called then bimetallism and the notion that the nation should move to a gold standard, which many people felt would hurt small business and labor. Now, that's a long dead issue, but the Cross of Gold speech remains one of the great pieces of American oratory in history. So for Steve Bannon to compare Donald Trump to anyone as being an orator who can perform bigly in this area is absurd. But to compare him to William Jennings Bryan just shows how grandiose and out of touch these people are. Although I can kind of hear the speech now, the one that says, "You shall not crucify mankind on this," may I say, very attractive cross of gold leaf that goes along with the gold leaf around the mirrors in the bridal suite at my new Trump Hotel's property. But now from the ridiculous to the sublime. As you also know, and as we talked about on this week's show, we have seen the administration under the the illegitimate administration under the guidance of Attorney General Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III turn and help create, once again, an increasingly hostile atmosphere for trans students, trans children. And I've got to tell you, this is heartbreaking to me. Look, let's talk really from the heart for a second. It is hard to grow up in this society. It's hard to be a kid in this society. It's hard to be in any way a sensitive kid in this society. It's that much harder when you feel you're different. And it's that much harder when you feel you're different and you're systematically excluded or mistreated by your peers and by society as a whole. But when your own government singles you out, when your own government legitimizes and encourages prejudice and hate against you, that to me is tragic, whether you're black or brown or gay or Muslim or trans. You should know as a young person growing up that your government is there to help you and protect you and stand by you. Not for a minute should you think that your government is against you. Under this administration, trans kids were told this week that their government is against them. Now, there are a lot of very well-adjusted trans kids out there, but given that it is so tough, I want to encourage you to do as I did, which is to look up a website called translifeline.org. This is a crisis hotline that is run by and for the transgender community, so that anyone, young or old, who is trans can call and get support. So if you're trans and you feel lonely out there, call translifeline.org. If you're doing okay, but you're an American citizen who rejects the bias of their government and wants to help these beautiful children thrive, think about giving them some money.